Where did they carry out the audit? Is it in space? Which of the planets without the Gencos? Or can they list the generation companies that were party to this audit? But we know that they are faceless mischief makers who are trying to smear the images of the Gencos and also try to put the president in a bad light. Because the implication of this pronouncement, if you look at the heading, the president of Nigeria slashes Genco's invoice of 6.5 trillion to 2.8 trillion. Do you know the implication? That is ignorant of the highest order. I have never seen such level of ignorance. Our current debt profile as at February 2026 is 6.6 trillion. And now how do we arrive at that 6.6 trillion? As confirmed by the regulator, there is a 200 billion monthly shortfall. So if by December 2024, we recorded 4 trillion, what led to the president calling the investors to meet with him at the State House on the 25th of July, 2025. It was what led him to approve the 4 trillion naira bond to deal with the legacy debts. And this debt of 4 trillion was accumulated from 2015 to December 2024. Okay? So now, if you calculate at 200 billion monthly for 2025, 200 times 12, which is for 2025, is 2.4. So it's going to be 2.4 trillion. And so if you add 2.4 trillion to the 4 trillion of December 2024, that's 6.4 trillion, right? So January for this year has ended, another 200 has added. So 6.4 plus 200 is 6.6. I've not added February because February has not ended. So February is going to make it 6.8. And with these mathematical arithmetical calculations, if nothing is done, by December it's going to be 8.8 trillion. The 2.8 trillion, if you had read the news, it came from Punch. And I called Punch and asked them, please, can you tell me who made this statement? They said some persons who does not want to be named. Now you and I, let's analyze it. This is a pre-election year, right? The president all of a sudden approved 2.8 trillion, okay? How he arrived at that, I do not know. Because like I quoted to you, the last meeting the Genco investors and the president met was on the 25th of July 2025. Since then, they've not had a meeting. And in terms of reconciliation, the last reconciliation the generation companies, the Ministry of Finance, the SA Energy and MBET had was in March 2025, before the meeting with the president. So, where did they carry out the audit? Is it in space? Which of the planets did this audit or reconciliation take place? Without the Gencos? Or can they list the generation companies that were party to this audit that made them arrive at 2.8 trillion? I have called out for the names of the people, and till today, I have not seen anybody who was behind it. But I know that it was a smear campaign. The same smear campaign has been used with the NLC. And this 2.8 is another smear campaign that they have done audit, and it was like the Genco's claim is like the oil subsidy. That is ignorant of the highest order. I have never seen such level of ignorance. Because for anybody who must have issued that statement to the press, he does not have a clue about how the power sector operates. And as I've clearly stated in the recent press releases I've sent out, I have clearly delineated how those invoices were issued. We generate power at the power stations, and when we generate power between us and transmission company, it is called the bus bar. Technically. Now at the bus bar, there is a meter, all right? Before we transfer power to the transmission, it is metered there. There's a meter. So the generation company have their own meter, transmission company also have their own meter. So it is metered before it goes to transmission. So when it goes to, it is what is metered at that bus bar that the Gencos can invoice. All right? So for them to do that invoice, before they can issue their preliminary statement, the market operator who has received, market operator, mind you, is now under the NISO. The NISO will independently look at the meter, what the Genco read, what the TSP read, and ensure that both figures are aligned. Okay? They will now inform the Gencos. The Gencos will now issue their invoice through MBET. MBET will also do its own checks. The agency that was set up to buy power from the Gencos. The agency, the reason why the gbese has reached 6.6 trillion. Because as the word is, trader is supposed to trade. But now is accumulating debts. So, and all this argument of pay me or don't pay me, if the system is working, it is not the generation companies that should be arguing pay me. In every part of the world, the work of a generation company is to make your machines mechanically available, as in make the machine ready to generate power. It is the off-taker, and in this case, NBET. Off-taker means somebody taking power. It is the off-taker that must provide the necessary guarantees to ensure that the power that is taken is paid for, you're able to pay your gas, and you're able to pay lenders and all other services that put together the business of power. I want you to make reference to one of the first articles I wrote in 2016. It's called the Akara model. In that article, I use Akara as a model for power, for the layman to understand how power business is done. So back to the 2.8 trillion. So how did they arrive at that figure? Till today, we do not know. But we know that they are faceless mischief makers who are trying to smear the images of the Gencos and also trying to put the president in a bad light. Because the implication of this pronouncement, if you look at the heading, the president of Nigeria slashes Genco's invoice of 6.5 trillion to 2.8 trillion. Do you know the implication? It has political implication. It has also contractual risk. It then shows that the president of Nigeria can wield his power and cancel a contract between two bilateral parties and decide what can be paid, not minding the cost the other party has. So it would be nice for us to know how they arrive at this 2.8 trillion, who are the people behind this 2.8 trillion, but until we know them, we take them as faceless people.
Okay.
We know that the president has a channel of communication. We also know that there's a minister of information and communication. So I believe that if the president wants to issue a statement regarding power sector, he has the channels to go through. So any other channel outside those channels, we deem them as faceless cabals that want to put the government in a bad light. That is my response to that. Yes, the Gencos are really concerned. It's because the Gencos are concerned. That's why you've been seeing the sustained media releases and the media press releases going out one after the other. They are concerned. Is there any businessman that will not be concerned that they are owing you 6.6 trillion as at January. 6.6 trillion as at January. No businessman can survive. No businessman in Nigeria can survive with 35% payment. In fact, in 2023, 2024, we were even paid sometimes 11%, 9%, and nothing was happening. So right now, they are making it 35%. And even the 35%, it is just a component of our invoice, not the full invoice that is being paid. So the Gencos are really concerned. Not only the Gencos are concerned, potential investors are concerned. You can see that there are 30 grid-connected power plants in Nigeria that has an installed capacity of 15,500. As others that want to come into the market, they are watching what is going on. It's just like the parable of the first wife and the second wife. Before a second wife comes, she should do due diligence to find out if the first wife is well treated. So potential investors that want to come in may be afraid of coming in, because if the current Gencos for nearly 13 years are still crying for payment, is it them that will get paid? The way the electricity market is designed, especially as it relates to Gencos, is so transparent that it's going to be difficult for you to do mago-mago on the line. Because like I said, at the bus bar, there is a meter. Bus bar is a technical language, and it means at the border or at the boundary between generation and transmission. It is called like a bus bar. Yes, the point where transmission and generation meet to interchange power. So yes, and it is on a very high voltage. So the Gencos give the power on that voltage. Transmission had to step it down through step down transformers before they can send it to distribution. So it's a technical language that I don't want to go too much into technicalities. Now, so with the bus bar and all the checks, there are so many checks and balances before the final settlement statement called the FSS. First is the PSS, preliminary settlement statement, then the final settlement statement, before the final invoice will be forwarded to Embed to process payment. So all that process, if we are questioning that process, means one, NEC is lying, NISO is lying, TCN is lying, and of course the Gencos are lying. Is it possible, given that all these agencies have called, NEC, Embed, NISO, TSP under TCN are all government agencies, is it possible that they will not represent their FGN and they will be representing generation companies to cheat the system? And mind you, the reconciliation of invoices, the distribution companies are also party to it, because they also have to say, this invoice you give to, this is what I got, this is what I did not get. So the process is so seamless and transparent. However, the power generation companies are willing, ready for a forensic audit like yesterday. So anybody who thinks that there are some kurukere or wuru or whatever language you want to use it, we are ready for any forensic audit to be done. However, this forensic audit must include our performance agreement, because if you want to carry out an audit, you cannot just carry out an audit on just figures. Let's start from the performance agreement. The performance agreement they signed with BP that contain the terms, the obligations of parties, of government, of Gencos, the performance agreement. Let them also start from the bid documents. The bid document, the document with which the generation companies bidded for this asset, and the promises that government made in those bid documents. Let us carry out all those forensic audits up to date, and then we see who is owing who. Okay. Because most times in Nigeria, we tend to do the judge and the jury. And lawyers say, Neme Judas in Kaseswa. You cannot be a judge and a jury in your own matter. So, we want independent international experts to carry out this forensic audit. And the audit should be live broadcasted, so every Nigerian can watch and see how this audit is done. Not like this 2.8 trillion, wherever it was cooked. We don't know the kitchen, we don't know the caterers, we don't know the chefs. We just saw it on paper that they finished cooking. We don't want that. The president of NLC is actually my brother. Yes, he's my brother and a very good ally. He's not the only person that has called for the reversal of the privatization. And this is not the first time. In fact, the reversal of the privatization has been an annual event. I bet you to check the media. Every December, there will be a call for the privatization to be reversed. So this time around, and close to election, there is always this call. There has been several calls also that the current owners do not know anything. Let me take you a little bit to history. I joined the power sector in 2011. And when I joined the power sector in 2011, they were preparing for the privatization. As you can see, the privatization took place on the 1st of November 2013. So there were processes, the documents, various agreements, and all the negotiations. In 2010, just before I came, the government of Nigeria did a roadshow. They went to, I think, about 6 global locations advertising our asset, the distribution and generation asset, for investors to come and buy. Now, after the roadshow, they came back and bidders all came and bidded. 172 consortia bidded for the assets, for the distribution and the generation. A consortium is the singular. Consortia is the plural. So a consortia is a conglomerate of several consortium that forms a consortia. So now out this group, we had 172 of them bidded for our assets. After the bidding, they came, looked at all the documents, and they went back. Till today, we are expecting them to come back. They didn't come back. Now you will want to ask me why. It's because of what is happening. You know, they did a due diligence on Nigeria. They studied our pattern of respecting contracts. They studied how, when we are signing contracts, we are already planning to break it. Right that time as we are signing it, we are calculating how we are going to break it. So as they went, they didn't come back. Now this became a problem for the government of the day. And they appealed to the Genco's investors. As you can see, the generation company investors were not originally power sector people. Just check their name. The government called all the sons of the land who are well-to-do in a meeting and pleaded with them, please come and save us from this shame. Because how will it be heard that we went around in the 6 geopolitical zones of the world, of investment hubs, they call them, and now they've all gone and they are not coming back. They say they are not interested. They prefer to lose that money they paid in the bid than to come back. So the government pleaded with them. The then Minister of Finance was Dr. Ngozi Weala. They all pleaded with investors and promised them everything. They promised them sovereign guarantee, partial risk guarantee that will be backed by World Bank and AFDB. They promised them all these things. And that you don't need to worry. Just put your machines, generate, and your money will be paid 100%. And that is why I said they should start the forensic audit from their bid document, from their performance agreement, from the share sale agreement, from BP, and trace it down. Don't start from 2026. Start from the beginning. That's where you will see that the Gencos are claiming far less than what they are entitled to. And the reason why I'm saying this is this. As at the time when they bought this asset, the dollar to the naira was 155 naira to $1. Today is about 1,400 naira to the dollar. So if you understand forex volatility and the risks of forex, do the calculation. 155 to 1,400. Can you see that? But they are still paying their acquisition loan at the current rate, not at 155. That's why banks are threatening the Gencos where they collected the acquisition loan from. UBA, First Bank, they are threatening the Gencos, but they are not able to pay back. We have been calling for the recapitalization of the discos. Since 2022, we have been calling for it. Because let us know, the current discos that are operating, do they have the capital to operate? Because it's their inability to pay for their invoices. That's why we are where we are. Although the government keeps saying is a tariff, they need to increase tariff. Before, tariff may be one of the solutions, increase of tariff. However, before you increase tariff, there are basic fundamental things that needs to be put in place. One, reliability of power. Because you don't want me to pay 500 naira and the power is just going bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam. In 1 hour, power will come and go 5 times minimum. There is no appliance that can work efficiently in such a state. So first and foremost, we need to start from the beginning. Check the network of the distribution company. Have they invested in it? If they've not invested, then open up the network for new investors to come in and invest. And this is mandatorily. It should not be based on whether they will agree or they will not agree, because this is what we've been doing. It is their network. They know what to do. Meter is their work. And so if we must allow them to meter. For nearly 13 years, we have left metering with the discos. And the metering percentage has not really shifted that much. At privatization, check what was the percentage. Metering was a major. The second major was them saying that they will reduce the losses. PSCN was complaining of losses. And they said, they will reduce the losses drastically within 5 years. It's been nearly 13 years. Losses are not reducing. In fact, it is increasing. In fact, it's swelling. It's like Gary inside water. It's just swelling. And yet, we are all looking as if we are helpless. There are many things that can be done. One of the good thing that has been done is the liberalization, where states can now also generate, transmit, distribute within their state. However, it will not just be a silver bullet. That's not a silver bullet. Because these state electricity markets need some time to be able to build capacity. They need some time. Look at those of us, I told you I've been in the sector since 2011. And the operators in the electricity sector since 2013 are still struggling. Talk more of the states that just took over. So they will need time to be able to set up. And I know that some of them are very, very enthusiastic and checking how they can own their power market. It will take a lot of capacity development. It will take a lot of hand-holding. It will take a lot of structure, framework developments and models before the markets can work efficiently. However, what I advise the state is they should learn from the federal and do not do Father Christmas with electricity. They should know that electricity is no longer a social good, it's a luxury. And if their states want electricity, they must put their money where their mouth is, so that it will be money for hand, electricity for pole. I want to appeal to the president that I want to encourage him that he should not be discouraged. I don't know what they have advised him, whoever his advisors are, that power sector can never work in his lifetime or in all our lifetimes. They have said so many things. I've been in meetings where when people talk about the power sector, you're wondering if it is working in Egypt, if it is working in Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, if it is working even in Senegal here. Why won't it work here? I am very optimistic and patriotic, and I want to encourage him that power can work. A lot of news had been flying that he promised that if he doesn't solve power, they should not vote for him. I want to encourage him that this is February. Election is February again, next year. So he still has 12 months window to do something. Nigerians are very easy to please. Just start something. And if the step is in the right direction, Nigerians will see that something is happening. And I want to say that solving Nigeria's power sector starts with a political will. And that political will is from the president himself. He has to lead the way. He has to give us a renewed focus on the power sector, the way he's carrying out a lot of reforms in the oil and gas sector. We want to see those reforms. We want to see people held accountable. We want to see meritorious appointments and not political patronages.